Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. Some of you may not know this, but when I had a little bit of money, I had wanted to actually hire a crew, go over to Asia, China specifically, and actually get interviews and tours of these privately owned and run robotics manufacturers. I don't know if it was YouTube or just the general audience, but there seemed to be little interest in even watching my videos. And I had wanted to do live streams and go over there and find all of these robots that I was talking about because they were online, and then all of a sudden they vanished. Well, recently, again, I saw something that was online, and then when I went to those pages, not only were they gone, but Google's cached version of the page, which is the page that Google holds in its memories, was also gone, which meant that they were purging that information from the internet. And that's exactly what happened when I first started this entire series. So if you, some of you keep asking me, well, where's the robot? Where's the robot? Where's the robot? So here is the video to kind of tell you what is the state of the current technology for robots. I'm going to do this in a list style, so I'm not going to go 1 through 10. I'm just going to do it on a list style because men, who are 90% of my audience, that's how you like listening to stuff. So here we go. So $345,000 to $10 million will get you one of these secret high-end personal robots. Now, Japan calls them different things. They call them anything from social robots to personal robots. China, I don't know what they call them exactly, but now they have somebody had a secret picture of a robot, and she looks like a real girl, a real woman. And here's the reason why you don't see these robots. They are handmade by order. It's kind of like Rolls-Royce. The feminists searching to attack manufacturers and customers. This is more reason that you don't see them. Feminists are trying to start robot ethic legislation to give robots rights to refuse bedroom activities, shall we say. And manufacturers pulled all web presence to go deep undercover. So anything that they had on the web about themselves or about their robots was pulled from the web. And when you can make $10 million per robot, you have the power to pull stuff from the web. You can now only buy their robots by word of mouth. So only a friend of a friend of a friend can tell you where the robots are and how to get in contact with the person that makes the robots. Now, Australia is rampant with the craze to stop men from buying robots. Now, there is a very famous, on YouTube, morning talk show of an Australia talk show of a man who manufactures his own little dolls in Australia. He's very happy with it. He's married, and he was demonstrating it on the morning talk show, news talk show. And of course, the lady presenter was very offended by it and asked, had he been hurt? Who hurt him? He's married with children. And the lady presenter, of course, gives that whole shaming language. And then the male presenter also did that. Well, just as a coincidence, the male presenter has now come out as gay after 30 years of marriage with children himself. So, is that a coincidence that he was attacking the guy who made the dolls in Australia too? I don't think that's a coincidence. Oh, I'll leave that up to you. What do you think? Leave that in the comments. Now, the very unwise scientists are created a feeling chip to give robots the ability to feel hurt emotionally and physically, so that the robot could distinguish that they have been physically hurt and emotionally hurt. More into that in a second here. And these same unwise scientists created social chips to give the robots the ability to feel when they're being used inappropriately. Based on whose definition of inappropriate? Well, this whole feminized generation of people who are a super duper liberal or even somebody who's not very, how do you say, not very up on that you are using literally something like a toaster or a cup or a spoon, right? A spoon has no feelings. Now, if they're putting feelings into the spoon to now emit that the spoon is feeling that it has been used inappropriately, that's on the person who made the social chip. Has nothing to do with the human who bought the spoon to do with the spoon as whatever he wants to do with the spoon, right? Soft robotics has also gone underground. I know they're talking about soft robotics, but the real manufacturing of soft robotics to really, really, really get into that technical aspect. And let me give you an example of what soft robotics is. They have made robotics whereby the thing that they produce is like skin tissue or muscle, anything that is not a rigid thing that, and these things can creep and crawl and slither. They even made a frog that's a robot. They made a robot out of frog cells. So it's almost on a nanotechnology level. The real deal of that has gone underground because that is what is producing human skin to put onto robots and human muscle to put onto robots, which already in this series I've already talked about. There's an international consortium of robotics fund that goes to almost $1 trillion in investment and lists all robot manufacturers worldwide that they know of. Now, they're only concerned with commercial robotics. They're not concerned with this consumer robotics, personal robotics, social robots. So there's almost $1 trillion already in robotics, but nobody really talks about it. At this stage of the game, the mainstream media talks about robots like they would Santa Claus. It's some sort of fairy tale that doesn't really exist. The robotics fund is traded on an international market. You can get in on that if you really are interested in that. I give that to all of my investment tier level people on Patreon. China set government goal to be the number one in robotics worldwide. China bans blockchain funds, though, which will hurt robotics in China or robotics growth in China because they can get growth funding from blockchain funds. For whatever reason, those go hand in hand. And with blockchain, you can do stuff and get funding from people directly. You don't have to go through any agencies, any sort of regulations or anything like that. But of course, China blocks that. Now, Japan has adopted a formal governmental policy that robots should be used for the greater good of the country. So, robots should be created for search and rescue and health, not personal, social robots. Now, whether the robotics manufacturers in Japan are going to adhere to that, it's up to them, right? For the most part, I don't think it's a direct mandate, like you'll get in trouble if you don't do that. But it is a sort of suggestion, and Japan is very group oriented. So if they say for the greater good of the group, you should only develop robots that would benefit the entire group, like a search and rescue robot, that the city can use, that the government can use. They might be going along with that. I'll keep you updated on that. The USA is not even in the top 10 robots per 10,000 manufacturer workers. South Korea became number 1 in robots per 10,000 manufacturer workers. The educational level of South Korea population is higher than that of the US population. Most Asian countries are outstripping education level of USA, especially with colleges offering useless liberal arts degrees in the US. In the information age, USA has fell behind each new industrial age since the Industrial Revolution which was led by the USA. So now we're in the information age. We're leading into anybody? Bueller, robotic self-awareness. That's the new age that is approaching, and that's what they're trying to do, to get the robots to be self-aware. Of course, there's a bunch of fear-mongering about that, but the whole idea is that the robot becomes self-aware, and then you don't have to tell the robot what to do. The robot just does it. The robot is still a robot, and the robot just does what it cleans your house, it picks up trash, it folds the laundry, and they already have all of that already. In different robots, they already have all of that. The attitude of humans to robots in Asia is completely different. Asians have a sophisticated view of robots to humans, while the US literally are afraid robots will take over, like some Hollywood movie. So when I said the age of the robots becoming self-aware, Americans, at the back of their mind, will have a fearful thought. Asians will have a excited thought. The Asians will be like, yay! Robots become self-aware. Hey, humanity's saved. People in the US, robot becomes self-aware. Oh no, robot becomes self-aware. Oh no, we're doomed, right? Now, in the Global Robotics Report, the US does not even appear on the list of something like top 50, top 100. Although in the United States, any sort of robotics reports are only list U.S. manufacturers. And you would think that on the global scale that the U.S. is leading everybody, when in fact the U.S. is not. There is a huge, tremendous backlash by both Democrats and the Republicans and anybody else. With the religious right, the atheist, the left, there is a general fear of robots in the United States. Because of that, we are behind in technology. Also, even although we aren't technically behind, we are 30 years in reporting how far in technology that we are. They already had complete automatons in the 50s and 60s. You saw those at places like Disney and DreamWorks, I believe. Disney. You had the automated Lincoln. And when I say automated, I mean literally nobody is touching it like a puppy. That's what it means. That's what automated means. It does not mean that he got up, smacked somebody in the head and then went home for a beer. I'm talking about automated. He, with electricity and programming, he stood up and did whatever he did. Gave a speech, whatever they had him do. Now, October 27, 2018, pioneer digital technology company ABB today announced a major U.S. $150 million investment in Shanghai, China. That's a lot of money. In China, that's a lot of money. To build the world's most advanced, automated, and flexible robotics factory. A cutting-edge center where robots make robots. Where robots make robots. The new Kankao Manufacturing Center, near ABB's expansive China Robotics campus, will combine the company's connected digital technologies, including ABB Ability Solutions, state-of-the-art collaborative robotics, and innovative artificial intelligence research to create the most sophisticated and environmentally sustainable factory of the future. It is expected to begin operation at the end of 2020. However, I have personally, Shakaama, worked with Chinese. There's a huge problem with they lie a lot. That's the only way that I can say it where you would understand what it actually means. The culture is to lie, take credit, to save face in business. Are you doing something? Oh yes, we are building a 20-story tower off of the coast of China. Is there a 20-story tower? Nope. Is there a 20-story tower off the coast of China? Nope. Why did they say that? They said that to save face in a business negotiation. They will even go and take pictures of a competitor's business, bring that into a business meeting, and claim that it is there. Now, This is saying that at the end of 2020, this facility is going to be open. There are other manufacturing plants that China has announced. I have not seen them. And this is what I was saying. I wanted to get funding to go over and take a look at these firsthand, because Chinese people lie. Chinese businessmen lie. That's the only other way to say it. There is no cute way to say that. There is no politically correct way to say that. So anybody who is offended by that, you just need to step back, step off, because that's what they do. They lie. And as somebody who has to negotiate with the Chinese in business, as I have in the past, I have to be aware of that goes on. And I have to be able to discern what I believe and what I do not believe in a business meeting. It makes for a very hard way to actually negotiate any sort of business deal with the Chinese. Do they mean anything by it? No, that's how they do business. The Japanese are completely different. The difficulty with doing business with the Japanese is a completely different way of even thinking. I couldn't explain it. They're all about saving face too, but it is a totally different ball of wax. If they say that they have they're not going to tell you that they have a 20-story tower off of the coast of Japan. They're not going to tell you that at all. You have to figure that out yourself. And you have to know that before even coming to the meeting. And you have to know that they're protesting the tower in the middle of the ocean. And so if negotiations fall through and you have no clue why, that's why. And in fact, the meeting isn't going to go all that great in Japan either. Now, my information is that the robots are for rich people only who have the money to buy them, and they will not openly advertise them because there's so many women's groups and political groups have nothing but scorn for them. Why? I do not know. It doesn't really make sense, because out of one side of their mouth, they're saying that they do not need men. They do not want men. They have nothing to do with men. They do not want to do the cooking and the cleaning and the vacuuming and the laundry. So men getting robots that does cooking and cleaning and vacuuming and laundry means that they don't need women for that at all. Why women's groups are going after men saying that they don't need that men shouldn't even have that capability doesn't really make sense, because they are trying to distance themselves from men. Well, the men who are trying to distance themselves from women are now receiving a backlash from women who are saying, how dare you distance yourself from women? That doesn't make sense. I'm laughing because I don't even know how to even come to the logical conclusion of any kind about that. And they're literally talking about we now need to have ethics laws in place of those people buying robots. Robots. A robot is a humanoid form computer. Do you need ethics laws about people buying computers? No, you do not. Would anybody even suggest such a thing? No, they would not. In fact, you don't have laws about how you use a burger, how you use a burrito, how you use your socks. And trust me, people do some disgusting things with socks. So, if you have some sort of idea of why these women's groups are coming after these super duper rich manufacturers of robots at a personal level that people buy for their home, and the only picture that you actually see are of individual engineers who have actually created a robot and married the robot or are dating the robot themselves. These are individual engineers in China and Japan who have done such a thing. That's the pictures that you have. If you want to donate and to the fund for me to go over there, when you donate, make sure you write a little note. This is for your fund to go to China or go to Japan, and to hire 5 people, a cameraman, a sound guy, a lighting guy, a translator, the whole 9 yards, and to live stream it. How would you like to see a total live stream trip over in China? Thank y'all for watching.